loves. Welcome back to Classy and Sassy. I'm Erica Regina, and today's episode is part mindset, part lifestyle, and of course, part bookish chat. We are talking about embracing reinvention later in life, why confidence peaks at different times, the difference between social media friendships and those real life connections, and how to own being multi-passionate without feeling scattered. Plus, why working with your natural energy changes everything, how the DNF mindset can free you, and tips for getting back into reading after getting into one of those lovely book slumps. Reinventing yourself is not failure, it's evolution. However, after a certain age, a lot of us are afraid to take that leap for some reason, especially, say, after 40 or 50. I have shifted careers, hobbies, and goals more than once after spending several years doing the same things. For instance, I spent several years in corporate, and my thing was I'm spending a lot of time making money for other people instead of putting all of that work and stress into making money for myself. From starting my podcast to then launching my travel business, and of course now branching out in real estate, each step taught me something very valuable. Later in life, you will have clarity you didn't have before. So you know your strengths, your deal breakers, and you're less afraid to pivot when something no longer fits. Reinvention often comes with fear. It does, but it also comes with freedom. It's about choosing a path that lights you up today, not just the one you committed to years ago out of obligation. You know what I mean, because how many of us were told we needed to be in certain fields or chase certain goals? If you could start something tomorrow without fear, what would it be? Now let's talk about the confidence curve. Okay? Confidence is not linear, and it doesn't always peak in your 20s. For some, it comes after hitting a lot of personal or career milestones. For others, it's born from surviving some seriously hard seasons of our lives. For me, growing up, my confidence was always non-existent. It just was. I spent a lot of time trying to make people like me. My confidence now is different. It's rooted in self-trust, not just self-image. I've been teaching myself and learning that real confidence is quieter. It's showing up without over-explaining yourself. It's knowing and learning that you can adapt. And it's learning to walk into a room focused on connection instead of comparison. This is not an overnight process. It's a constant walk into learning and evolving what you want with who you are. And it takes time. With the evolution of social media, there is so much that is starting to impact our friendships because we can get so caught up in these social media connections. How many times have you opened something where someone says they have thousands of friends they talk to every day and they only mean their social media connections? And don't get me wrong, social media connections can be absolutely genuine. I have met amazing people online, but they're not always the same as your offline friendships. Likes and comments and shares are not the same thing as those check-ins or those late night phone calls. Digital friendships can start something real. They can. But you need to nurture them beyond the app. Balance is key. While you can appreciate the online support, can you also invest in the relationships that show up in your everyday life? And let me add, while you can really make some awesome connections through the people you network with online, if you're not willing to put in the work to really get to know them beyond the images we're presenting there, what is the point? How is it moving you forward if it's not networking for business or connections for genuine saving Is it just saving things that you do, or is it time sucks? Now, I know so many of us were told this. Growing up, or even after we were grown, we were told to pick one lane. We needed to pick one passion. But some of us have multiple passions that can fuel creativity and joy. I don't know how many times in life I was told I needed to pick one thing and focus on that to be successful. That's the only way you can be successful. Well, I beg to differ. Being a travel advisor, realtor, content creator, podcast host, and a writer now keeps me energized because each passion feeds the other. My success in other things are the things that are finally making me stop making excuses about writing my book and making me take the time to get it done. The challenge is structure, batching tasks, setting boundaries, and know when you may need to pause one passion to focus on another. Being multi-passionate does not mean scattered. It's strategic when you learn to manage it. If you know you have multiple things you want to achieve, don't let anyone tell you it's impossible. Instead, why don't you focus on what you want to achieve? Break it down into smaller segments to make sure you're getting it done. My latest thing is color coding all of my calendars to represent certain goals. This way I can glance at the colors and I know if I'm putting in time to move each goal forward, whether that's daily, weekly, or monthly. It helps you refocus quickly when you realize you're spending way too much time on things like home maintenance versus your daily writing goal. The laundry will wait. Your book, not so much. Let's talk working with your natural energy. Are you more creative at night or in the morning? Knowing your peak energy times can transform your productivity. For example, I prefer to record my podcasts earlier in the day when I'm sharp, but I tend to brainstorm content at night when I'm more relaxed. Aligning work with your natural rhythms prevents burnout and it boosts the output. And when you can't align perfectly, use micro moments, short, focused bursts to get essential tasks done. For example, if you know you have more energy at night, schedule your bigger tasks that take more time then versus earlier in the day. You know what else helps? Time blocking. If you know that you're someone who just can't focus, if, say, your desk is in a disarray, block out a certain amount of time to clean and organize your desk before you do anything else so it's not distracting you and giving you an excuse to lose focus. If you have a tendency to get easily distracted from a task by other outside things, try setting a timer for a set time where you only focus on one essential goal and everything else has to wait. To help with this, I have turned off a lot of my notifications because nothing distracts your focus more than all those unnecessary pop-up notifications of things that are not urgent and they may possibly take you down a rabbit hole of distraction. Or let's say social media is your problem. Make a rule to yourself that you will not scroll until X, Y, and Z are done, whatever that may be for you. As someone who is trying to build my presence on social media right now, my new rule is that I have to get my content created and posted for the day before I can scroll other people's content. They already put the work in. I haven't. So instead of going down a rabbit hole and realizing you've been scrolling for who knows how long, because let's be honest, sometimes we can do that and completely lose track of time. Get the things done you need to get done. Then you can reward yourself with that mindless scroll. You know, we say we DNF books that we don't enjoy. But why can't we also apply that theory to other things in life? We quit the books we don't enjoy, so why not apply that to everything? Letting go of projects, habits, or even relationships that drain you isn't giving up. It's making space for what truly matters. Life is too short to stay committed to something that no longer serves your growth. Let me give you an example. I used to absolutely love all of the Real Housewives shows. Somewhere along the way, I started to realize the negativity was starting to be a complete drain. In turn, I would sometimes have several episodes recorded that I just kept making excuses not to click on, yet I kept recording them. At some point, I had to accept that my love for the show had somehow evolved into a different direction, and I had to let it go. And I've started doing that now about a lot of shows and things that I don't enjoy. If I know I really dislike something, or if I feel like it's a drain on me mentally, I'm really quick to retreat to another room and pick up a good book instead. What is the point of forcing ourselves to do something we don't even enjoy? Like, we know at a certain time, a lot of our shows are off the air for season finales. So why do we sit there if there's really nothing on that we want to see and waste mindless time watching something we don't enjoy, we don't care about, when instead you could spend that time reading and developing your brain? If you're not a reader, there's always other things you could be doing to developing who you are and where you want to be. Think about that. And speaking of reading, if you have fallen out of your reading habit or gotten into a nice little reading rut, the key is to remove the pressure. Choose something short, light, or nostalgic to restart. Or maybe you should revisit an old favorite or try a fast-paced book that hooks you early on. Reading should feel like a treat, not another item on your to-do list. Like, I'm a thriller reader through and through. If I'm not reading thrillers, I'm reading self-help books and business books. But sometimes, possibly because I read so many of them, I can lose interest so easily with certain books, especially if I've figured out what the twist is really early on. One thing that may help if you're like that or if you're in a slump of some kind is to try changing genres just occasionally. It will help you get out of that slump, and surprisingly, you may find something else that you may have missed out on previously. Anyway, that's today's Classy and Sassy. Why don't you DM me your reinvention dream or rate and review the show? And don't forget to visit me at my website, ericaregina.com, for more. And just before I forget, I'm absolutely doing, because I already scheduled it out. Instead of putting so much pop culture in each episode, I'm going to start doing some bonus episodes each week that will be just pops of pop culture. That way, I can be in real time with some things and you won't miss anything with any of our crazy reality TV or pop culture drama. Anyway, until next time, stay classy, stay sassy, and take ownership of your glow up. Okay?